right, good afternoon. Yeah, I think, just first of all, proud of our guys and our staff and our whole organization and our players for going on the road in the Big 12 and getting our first win of the season in this conference. So, and it had to overcome a lot in doing it. I think, on the road, number one, sellout crowd, a lot of adversity throughout the game, and they stayed poised, and they continued to play and ended up making enough plays to go get the win. So proud of that. But really looking forward to this week. I'm really looking forward to hosting Iowa State, an outstanding football team that's ranked, undefeated. And we're going to be playing in front of a sold-out stadium here at Nippert. Very excited about that. I know our students are going to be off the chain in that end zone over there, and then everybody else is going to be loud. We're striping it out, red and black. We've got the most recruits that we've ever had coming to a game since we've been here, high-rated recruits, committed recruits. It's going to be outstanding. So we can't wait for Saturday at noon to kick this thing off against a really good football team. And, a little bit about Iowa State. I mean, Coach Campbell I've known for a long time. I think he's one of the best coaches in the country. And his teams are always good. They're always ready to play. They're always coached well in all three phases. Defensively outstanding, one of the best defenses year in and year out in the country. They got a quarterback that started over 30 football games that's outstanding. He's a winner. He makes things go for him on offense. And, obviously a great challenge for us, but we're looking forward to it.
Real quick back to the Kansas game. The 4th and 1 early from your own 34, was that sending a message to your team as much as anything that we're going to be aggressive and we understand it's going to take some points to win this game and we're going to go get them?
Yeah, I mean, we want to be aggressive anyway, and I think, going into that game, we knew Kansas' offense was outstanding. That Jalen Daniels is a great player. They're going to score points, and so you have to think it'd be aggressive. And I think, when it's 4th and 1, matter of fact, I'm watching the Iowa State game from last year. We did it on our first drive last year as well, back very similar, 4th and 1 on the minus 30-something. So you have to – I think when you're playing teams that are really good, especially on the road, you got to be aggressive in your thinking. And, we felt good about the play and to be able to get those yards. And, and I think in this league, I think you have to be aggressive. I really do. I just think there's so many good offenses, so many good players that, if you think you got a chance to get the first down, let's go ahead and get it.
Saw Dante downstairs. His appetite looked fine. Any update on him?
No, I think, he's still questionable, but I do think he's trending in the right direction. I think he was close last week. I really thought he might have an opportunity last week. So, but, we'll see how this week goes with him. And, but I do think he's very close to being able to play this week.
Any update on Joe?
Yeah, Joe's good. He'll be ready to go. Yeah, he'll practice today and be ready to go. I think, pretty much I think probably the big question mark is going to be Dante, but I think everybody else will be practicing today and be ready to roll.
In a unique situation, like you're going up against the same defense that you run, do you just run practice like normal, like you would in early fall camp, or are there parts of Iowa State's defense that you have to kind of isolate?
Yeah, I mean, I think, theoretically we're the same, but there's a lot of differences in things that we're doing. And I think, even Iowa State, go back the last 3 years that we've played them, depending on their personnel, they do some different things. Obviously, you want to do what your kids do well. So there's going to be some little tweaks and some little nuances that'll be different. But for us, it's the normal week. We try to go good on good anyway. Like on Tuesday and Wednesdays, we're going to go a bunch of different plays, good on good. So we're going to see that anyway because we want to get speed on speed. But yeah, I think more than anything probably is what we take away. Having gone against our defense in the spring and in August camp, you feel a little bit more comfortable, when they're playing their base defense. Other than that, though, you got to see what they're playing and then react off of it.
Brendan had a rough game against Iowa State last year. How much do you go back and look at that tape and try to figure it out, or is it difficult because you've just got entirely new group of weapons around him? How much attention do you pay to that?
He did rush for 141 yards last week.
Did.
That's pretty good.
He threw for 60.
No, I know. But he ran for 141. Let's look at the positives, Chad. We did not throw the ball great last year. And I thought, So last year's Iowa State team, where they gave up some running yards, and I feel like we try to take advantage of that. They did a really good job in the pass game. I think this year they're a little bit more balanced in their defense approach. It's not just one-sided. I thought last year maybe they gave up the run and they were really good in the pass defense. This year I think it's a little bit of both. I still think they're a very solid defense. We're going to need to be able to hit some throws. We're going to have to be able to do that. There's no question. That really hindered us last year, not being able to hit some of those throws in the game. And, I think you got to be able to do both, obviously. But, again, we're a new team. This is a different bunch. They're a different bunch. Like their secondary is like they're all new compared to last year. Our wide receivers are all new. It's really two totally different teams when you think about it in that regard. They do have some linebackers back, some D-line back. We got some of our O-line back, that kind of thing. But I think as far as the skill guys go, the back end and the receiver room, they're different. And so there'll be a different kind of game plan, I think, probably for us and them as you go into this game.
Like the offenses look night and day since the Nebraska game. Is this kind of how you picture this offense looking in the spring and the fall, how you showed against Kansas?
Yeah, I think so. We got a lot of playmakers, and we got to figure out ways to get them the ball. And I think, as you go back and look, I think 9 different guys caught balls Saturday, and I think, Tywee and Pryor, were our 2 running backs and kind of rotated both of those guys. They're making plays. And at tight end, I thought Gavin came in and did a great job. He had a couple big catches when Royer went out. I just think we got some good weapons that we got to distribute the football to all these weapons. And I think that's the one thing the last 3 weeks we've done a good job with that. And that's hopefully, obviously what you want to continue to be able to do throughout the rest of the year.
Can you explain the end of the first half and how you're able to run for, I think, 50 yards and get into field goal range so easily? Because the second one, the long one, looked like a layup and almost like it should have been impossible for you to do that.
Yeah, and that was coming off the punt return that got called back. It was frustrating, and we got backed up. We had one timeout, and basically what we were thinking, let's try to spread them out, hand the ball off, see if we pop one. And we got a few yards on the first one. We ended up calling a timeout. Then the next one ended up popping. What happened on that was the safeties were a little bit deeper than normally that they would be. And then Pryor was able to get through, and then the safety was late, trying to respond up, and he was able to pop the big one. That was huge for us because to be able to go get points right before half, because we're up 4, go get 3 right there. Now you're up 7, and then they came out and went and scored, but they tied it up and they didn't take the lead. So that was a huge difference, I think, in the game to be able to go get those points, and we did it with running the football, And then also at the end of the game we did it too. When Tywee popped the, I think, 17-yarder to get down to the 2. I think that was huge as well. So I think really and truly what you're trying to do there in those scenarios is if you can and you have time, if they are a little bit softer, you want to be able to do that. We feel confident Pryor and Tywee to be able to get chunk yards, especially if you have a timeout, because we had a timeout at the end of the game and then we had one right there. And if we pop it, then you got a good chance. So that was a huge play.
Dak doesn't throw many interceptions. How beneficial would it be to have one, because you guys haven't had any yet?
Yeah, I appreciate you bringing that up, Scott. Yeah, we would love for him to throw us one. That'd be awesome. We have not gotten any interceptions, and that's certainly something that we want to get. We want to create more turnovers. I really appreciate Peak. Peak got another one, man. He's got, I think, 6 forced fumbles in the last year and a half. So I appreciate him creating some turnovers for us. So I'd love for some other guys to step up and get some turnovers, And I think, we just got to continue to keep playing. And obviously each of the players that are out there have to do their job in order for that to happen. So you got to get pressure on a quarterback. You hope he throws into coverage or has to throw early. To me, that's how you get some interceptions. And I think we just have to keep doing those type things to put pressure on the quarterback.
I know the system is going to give up some yards, but how much do you have to go back and look at it? Maybe the completion percentage and some of the free release throws that these guys are making, because it looks like teams are finding the free release and hitting it pretty quick.
Yeah, I agree. It's anybody that's watched this sees that. Obviously, our opponents see it. We got to tighten up coverage. There's certain times, obviously, that you're going to be a little looser and softer, but there's other times where you got to tighten it up, and you have to match, guys. And I think, and you got to mix it up too. You just can't sit in the same defense. You have to mix it up, and you have to match coverages. And You have to be aware of where the receivers are. All those things we got to get better at. There's no question. But then also, we have to align properly. We have to, have great eye control. Maybe I think you asked it last week, in the first play. Bad eyes and the guy goes right down the sideline. I mean, so we have to have better eye control. Like all those things we got to get much, much better in order to help our pass defense, because that's where we're deficient. I think the run defense has been very solid. It's the pass defense where we got to get better.
Rocco Beck gets the label of game manager, but he's also a guy that will throw the ball down the field and push it deep on you. Like, if he's a game manager, he's at the high end
No
of
question.
game manager. Do you have to tell your guys, like, don't get caught up in this notion that he's all dink and dunk, because they will hit 40, 45 yard throws?
Yeah, I mean, going back, we don't have to tell our guys. I mean, they hit some plays on us last year. They do a great job of scheming you up, and you think you got it stopped, and there's a guy running free wide open. He's certainly going to hit him. I think he's so much more than a game manager. I mean, he's number one, he's a winner. And how are you a winner? Because you're able to make plays. And he's got huge plays on third downs, on fourth downs. The play action game, because they like to get the ball, running the football. That play action game is strong. They have some really outstanding tight ends, that are long and they're hard to defend. But I think Rocco's a heck of a football player. He's like a coach on the field for them as well. And then now the experience that he has with the many starts as he's had, he's seen everything out there, and he's not going to be fazed or rattled by what you're throwing at him.
It seemed like there were multiple plays throughout the entirety of the game where, whether it was a third down goes bad, you have to go for it on fourth, or Kansas hits 2 70-plus yards touchdowns, that teams in the past for you would kind of go in their hole and not give up, but it would hurt them a lot. What does it say about this team's will and attitude that they just kept on responding in those situations?
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of it is Brendan. Brendan, what we went through last year, and we've been in these scenarios before. And I think a lot of our guys, the ones that were a part of it, Gavin, Gerhardt and Brendan and these guys that have been a part of that, they scar down, man, and you learn from them. And I just felt like our guys had so much more poise. Like, if something didn't go our way, or, hey, they just went and scored, that's fine, let's go. We're rolling. And that's what you could see. There was a calm about our guys. And I think a part of that is experience, and part of that is belief. And I think what we've created, this off season in August and then throughout this season so far is the belief that we can go get it done, no matter what's thrown at us. And, I was glad we were able to do that, and our guys had to make plays. We've been in this scenario many times before the last few years, and we were just one play short, and we were able to make those plays this time. Noah Jennings on 4th and 10. I mean, what an unbelievable play. But if he doesn't make that catch, we lose. As good as Brendan played and all that, we still lose. And but you have to make those plays in order to go win. Somebody does. And, Peak knocking that ball out, Noah making that catch. Those are big-time plays. That's how you win these type of games.
A year ago, you had switched kickers. Are you a little bit more relaxed now when 99 goes out there and then Fletch is banging 50-plus yard punts?
Yeah, I mean, the teams played excellent Saturday. We had, 3 punts over 50 yards, no return. Excellent job of flipping the field. That is huge. And then knocking down some field goals, man. The last couple of years before half, we're right there knocking field goal down. We hadn't made them. We've missed them. I think Texas Tech last year. I think Pitt last year. Those are a difference in the games and winning those games, and this year we knocked it down. And of course, we got the outcome we wanted. So, glad Steven's here and glad he's continued to kick well.
Does a part of you feel like you stole a game knowing you didn't have Dante?
No, I don't think stole a game. I think, our guys went out and played, and, we ended up getting the win. Obviously, you love to have Dante, obviously, and I think, he's a big part of our defense. And, but I was proud of him on Saturday too, because he was right there on that sideline being a great leader. He was pulling everybody together, and, you could see that and feel his energy on the sideline was awesome. And, hopefully he'll be able to get back in there this week.
Looked like Jalen and Micah played pretty good, especially in some key scenarios. What did you see from them?
Yeah, no, I think, Jalen Hunt's a guy that we thought could really kind of fill that void with Dante left right there to be able to play at the nose, but also play on the edge, and then Micah as well. But I do think Jalen, obviously to me was the key that to be able to have him, back this year to be able to play in that scenario. We needed him, and I thought he did some good things, putting pressure on the quarterback, making him get off his spot a few times. And, I think he'll continue to play well and get Dante back. Now you get both of them out there. It's just it's harder, obviously, for their offense.
On the second long touchdown, it looked like Taden was where he was kind of supposed to be, but then reacted
To the ball.
to the ball being thrown behind. The receiver makes the catch. Now, what do you say to him on that? Because he's trying to make a play on the ball, but ultimately that resulted in a long touchdown.
That's right. Yeah, it was a tough play. I mean, for him, it was a lot of space out there. He's trying to stay over top. Well, then he's looking as the ball's coming and the ball's thrown behind, so he's kind of stepping here to maybe try to get it. Thought their kid made an outstanding play, to reach back. He's running full speed to reach back, make the catch, stay on his feet, and then Tatum gets turned around. Well, by then, I mean, it's going to be over. I think just the only thing you can say right there is to try to tighten up the coverage to where, you're a little bit more body on body. Now it's going to be more difficult for that guy to have to reach back and make that catch. He's given some ground because of how fast that kid was. The kid's a good player. And, we didn't help ourselves. I mean, on some situations there, you love to have an extra safety that's going to be back there to help that actual play. And then, of course, he had the first play, the 93-yarder as well. So, I mean, the week before that, he had a 95-yard kickoff return. I mean, he's a really good player. But we just got to learn from it and obviously try to get better so that doesn't happen again.
He had a pretty graceful pirouette.
Yeah, I know. You like to knock that ball down, though, for sure.
Iowa State's played in some different environments. How important is it going to be for the Nippert Stadium fans to make it a little uncomfortable for them on
huge.
Saturday?
I mean, whenever we go on the road in the Big 12 and you're getting, like last year, we went to Iowa State, went to Kansas State, went to Colorado, those stadiums just stand out to me because they were packed, they were sold out. They affect your offense, Arrowhead this year. I mean, they affect what you do offensively. And, we have to create that same environment here at Nippert. I mean, this stadium is awesome. It's loud down there, in that bowl. So when our crowd gets into it, when it's third down for Iowa State, like they got to be going crazy, to try to throw them off of their rhythm and their cadence that they're trying to do on offense. That is a definite advantage for us, and that certainly we'll feed off of that.
Yeah, just real quick, have you embraced being the matinee idols that play Nip at noon?
Whatever time they tell us to play, our boys are going to be ready to play. We have no control over, when TV says we're going to play. So I know obviously the fans would love to have a night game here. Maybe at some point we will, but whatever time they tell us to play, we need that place packed, loud, rowdy, be ready to go so we can get a big win.
You had mentioned that you had never had a big play like that or big drive, but I have to think somewhere along the line maybe you did. But just again, how fun was the last $1:45 of that game?
Yeah, it was really fun. Like I said, thank goodness I didn't get to see, the third down that I sailed the ball because I was, kind of taking a little high-low shot. But all I heard was the oohs and ahs. And usually once you hear the ah, you're like, okay. So, clearly we're still going to get another chance at it, but I didn't know that it would, obviously what had happened. But, no, that drive was awesome. Obviously a little bit of adversity on that last drive, just like the rest of the game. But, we found a way to persevere and came out on top. So that's what you want. We've been in so many close games since I've been here, and it felt good to, finally win one of those close ones.
That second drive, he goes for it on 4th and 1 from your own 34. Does that send a shot of confidence through you guys offensively? Like, okay, we're going to be aggressive today. Let's get after it, or is it just another play?
No, 100%. Obviously, at that point in the game, usually I think a lot of coaches would just punt it away. You can kind of tell though from all of our body language, none of us budged. We all knew that Coach Sad was going to go for it, and we knew that going into that game. Like I said, we were going to have to score points. It's a really good offense on the other side. So was really happy with the call and just like you just said, like instilling confidence in our group by him choosing to go for it there. And, we picked it up, ended up going on a big long drive and ended up putting it in the end zone. I think that just kind of just set the tone for the rest of the game for sure. So really pleased with that.
When did you find out Dante wasn't going to play, and how did you go about moving past it, knowing that you guys can still go out and get a win?
I had a little bit more insider info than a lot of people did, so I had known. that there was a good chance that he wasn't going to play. I knew that his recovery was going well and stuff, so there was a slight chance, but we all knew for the most part that there was a pretty good chance he wasn't going to play. But just having him there was a very big help for sure. He's grown so much as a vocal leader and stuff, so having him there on the sidelines, just rallying the troops and everything was really good for us to have. So big shout out to him, and hopefully he's all good to go this week.
We talked a lot about Caldwell, Goody, Cyrus early in the season. Noah Jennings, Isaiah Johnson, big grab, even Gavin at tight end. How good are those guys that are just waiting in the wings?
Yeah, like I said, I always think y'all are thinking that I'm just giving the quarterback answer whenever I say that I love all of our guys, I love throwing to all of our guys, and that I believe in all of our guys, but I truly do. And I think Saturday proved that, that they can step up and make plays whenever they need to. Still upset with Gavin for not scoring on that one, but we'll let that one slide for now. I'm sure he won't let it happen again, especially when he gets that close. I said, Gavin, you're 6'7", dude. There's no way you should ever get stopped on the 1-inch line. So we'll definitely learn from that going forward. But, we don't win the game without Noah Jennings making that unbelievable catch. So props to him. And Zay's been really good with the ball in his hands. So we just got to keep finding a way to get all of our playmakers the ball.
Gavin, did you see the tape? How was he in, or was it close, or did anyone see?
Oh, it was close, but he wasn't in.
Yeah.
So, no, we're not giving him any benefit of the doubt for that one. So we'll leave it at that.
How many times have you watched the Noah catch since then?
A lot. Just because it's crazy, because it's not like even just like how truly a game of inches that football actually is, because it's not like he just straight up palmed it, because it was kind of behind him, almost hit right there on his wrist, and it just dies, and he just reels it in somehow. So unbelievable catch by him. And that was another one of those. I kind of got hit low, so I didn't really get to see it. And then I heard their reaction, so I known that he had pulled it in. So, yeah, credit to him. He's a really good player and made some really good plays for us so far this year.
At what point did you get a sense that this was going to be a shootout last week? Could you feel it coming in? Did you know they've got a high-powered offense, we're going to have to match them? Or was it something during the game that were you like, all right, Jalen's cooking, I'm cooking,
Yeah.
this is going to be fun?
A little bit of both. Both defenses were doing good things. It was just sometimes the offenses are clicking and, you're just finding ways to put points on the board. And I just felt, we kind of got that sense going into halftime, especially hey, we're going to have to keep scoring. Just overall, just going into the week as well, we knew what kind of offense they were. They do a bunch of different things. They're really explosive. Jalen's a great quarterback. So we knew we were going to have to put points up. And everybody keeps saying it, and I really do, believe it. But, whoever had the ball last, we were just going back and forth. So, it was a crazy game for sure. Definitely a fun one to come out on the winning side of.
Coach mentioned your 140 yards rushing last year when I brought up your passing performance against Iowa State. How much do you look at that and learn from it? As he mentioned, your receiving group is different. Their secondary is different. Mm-hmm. Do you feel like I need to get a little redemption here in the passing game this time? Or are you going to run it for 150 yards again?
Yeah. No, I always tell y'all I would rather throw for sure than run. But, whatever it takes to win, obviously I would prefer to have more than 70 yards passing in every game. It was 66. Okay, thanks, Chad. So, no, but any time that I have a chance to, move the chains, whatever that may be, I think that we have just a overall better feel for the scheme, me especially, of ways that we can get our guys the ball and move the chains, through the air. And then if it requires me to go to the ground game with it, then I'll do that. But I feel really good about our passing game this year, and I'm excited to see what we can do on Saturday.
Caldwell kind of got chastised a little bit about stretching the ball out a few games ago. Do you think that was reason why that Gavin didn't stretch out at the one?
No, because, you look at about every player, they would end up doing in that situation. Gavin's just a young kid trying to do everything right, but I'm sure that, if he does score there, nobody asks too many questions, It's always one of those, a little slap on the wrist, hey, don't do that. It works, though, so we're not too upset with you. We don't fault Gavin for not doing it, but everybody obviously is okay. You were at the 1-inch yard line and you're 6'7". You don't even have to reach the ball. Just freaking barely reach it out and you're going to have it. Jeff's was a little bit egregious, but, he ended up scoring, so not too many people asked too many questions about that.
And you guys played, at Arrowhead Stadium first week. how much do you think that prepared you guys for the Rockets crowd in Kansas?
Yeah, like I said, that atmosphere and whenever we were in Kansas City was really, really loud, probably the loudest that I've been a part of. So it was able to, prepare us for the rest of the way, especially on our road games, and just getting us ready for, if we need to go silent, we can do that, or if we just go normal cadence. So I think all the guys handled that really well. I don't think we had any pre-snap penalties. I could be wrong about that, but I don't believe we did. So we did a really good job with that.
And your big dogs got, Big 12 offensive line of the week for a second time. Did you give them any extra pat on the backs or any speeches or whatnot once you got the news?
Yeah, obviously, I always give them a hard time throughout the week, but they'll be treated to a nice steak for sure. After every win, we always go get Jeff Ruby, so the big boys are always appreciative of that. Maybe I'll get us a nice dessert or something for the beef of the week, I guess. But no, those guys are blocking their tail off. It stinks that the one sack was on a little bootleg that they had nothing to do with. So yeah, well, at least we're playing with house money now, so I can just sit back there. I told him, I said, well, now that we got the sack out of the way, I'm just going to sit back there and hold on to the ball a little bit longer. So y'all boys be ready for that.
Jeff Ruby's after a win. That's got to be one really positive benefit of the NIL era.
Yeah, 100%. I'm gonna start making these old
McDonald's
line. I'm gonna
after
start
a win,
making
the
these
old
old
days.
linemen chip in for sure. Yeah, it's definitely a positive. But yeah, anytime we win, I'll take them out. So it's a win-win for all of us. Go get a good meal. We're only doing it because we win. So I hope we go every single week.
You got Big 12, offensive player of the week. Is anybody, doing anything nice for you? That's the question of the day.
Just got to keep stacking them. I don't know. People are always nice to me. They're always too nice. So I need to, back to after the Nebraska game, whenever I was getting beat down, I need that again. So, no, it's been really fun. Just being able to pull out that win. The plane ride home was really enjoyable. And then just the locker room, you can tell everybody's got a sense of confidence about them, that we finally were able to pull out one of those close ones. And we're excited to get back to it on Saturday.
What did you see on the kind of lob to Tawi? Did he turn the wrong way? Did you put it in the wrong spot? Because it looked like kind of a confusing play.
Keegan, I don't want to don't even get me started on that. That was a play for Evan Pryor. We've talked about this with Tawi. He's a little stiff in the hips, so I give him a hard time about that. It was just one of those things. I kind of had to throw it a little bit away just so that safety didn't get involved. It was a tough adjustment by him. He made it look really hard too, so I'm gonna give him a hard time. I'm gonna keep giving him a hard time about it. But no, it was definitely a learning experience for both of us.
At Big 12 media days, you quarterbacks kind of hang out a little bit. What do you know of Beck? Have you gotten to know him at all? And he's a similar tough guy that can do a lot of things like you.
Yeah. So for the most part, all of us QBs got to know each other a little bit. I try to talk to them as much as possible, but obviously throughout the season, it's not very common that we get to catch up and talk. So I'm sure I'll talk to him after the game. He's a really good dude. So he's really talented, really good quarterback. He's been a good quarterback for the past couple of years. So definitely be a good challenge for us and another good competition for us for sure.
How much do you benefit from playing against a similar defense every day in practice? Does it help? Do you feel like it gives you an advantage, or is it just two teams that are similar but they're not? You can't really base much off of it.
Oh no, we're definitely very, very similar to the point of where you can get good reads from our defense. But at the end of the day, they're going to do different stuff, or else we just go out there and it'll just be a practice. So last year it obviously didn't go in our favor in the passing game, so we got to find a way to get the pass game going early this week. So whatever that takes. If they want to drop everything back, we'll check it down. If they want to come down, we'll take some shots. So whatever it may be, we got to find a way to move the chains.
140 rushing.
Maybe 140 rushing, as long as we got 300 passing too.
Tyree Brendan says your hips are a little tight.
Okay.
What was on that play? Was it just slightly off, a little bit miscommunication, or?
He briefly told me what he told y'all, so I'm gonna let him run with that. But so like they was in a cover, they were supposed to be in a cover 3, in the corner. Like I seen him running with me from the start, so I kind of put my head down and just ran, try to outrun him, but he didn't drop back, so he blown the coverage. But I'm thinking the corner's there the whole time, but he's not. So he's throwing me out because the corner's not there, and I'm running in because I'm thinking the corner is there in his zone. So it was just miscommunication.
When you guys are at the 18 on that last drive and coach calls a run play, was there a part of you that was like, what are we doing? Like, shouldn't we be passing? And were you confident that you're going to be able to get it to the 2?
Oh, definitely. I'm confident because it's in that scenario they're kind of playing the pass, so they're the box lightens up, and we went over that same scenario in practice and did the same thing. And it was the same outcome. So definitely never questioning his. Coach called a great game. Never question his, especially if he put it in my hands. I'm never going to question him putting the game in my hands. So I appreciate him, and definitely wasn't a doubt about that play.
Looked like you were making a beeline to the end zone on that play. Does the time come into play a little bit where you're thinking, well, do we score too early, or do you just run it on in?
Well, we got a. I think one of us called it. I think they called a timeout the next play. So really, it's really up to the coaches if they're telling me to not score yet or to score. So they didn't say anything. So I'm just playing ball at that point.
It's a little easier to score, though, right?
Oh, definitely.
One more. You got 18 carries. Are you the type of guy that the more carries you get, the more momentum and confidence you have?
I feel like that's really any running back. You have to capitalize on opportunities if you get 5 carries, 3 carries, 8 carries. But definitely, if you get more in the game, you're going to build more confidence and get more comfortable in the game. So definitely.
Do you think they let you score on that last touchdown, or was that they were full go? There's been some debate over that.
I mean, we ran it 3 times. It was the same outcome all 3 times. So I feel like they did not let us score because if they would have, I mean, we had. They stopped. I'm gonna say we couldn't kick a field goal. We had to score. So in my opinion, I do not think they let us score because that wouldn't have been the best decision in my opinion.
No, that ball's floating through the air on 4th and 10, game on the line. Do you black out? Just put the hand out there? Like what's going through your brain? Nothing, something? What's it like for you in that moment?
It's really nothing's going through my brain but catch the ball. So like when I see the ball in the air and I'm tracking it, I'm going up with 2, but if I can't go up with 2, the one hand just sticks out and it just connects.
Biggest catch of your career?
So far, yes. For the situation it was in, yes, definitely.
Do you credit the receiving gloves or just the natural talent?
You know, it goes hand in hand, kind of. You know what I'm saying? I got to be able to make the catch, but hey, the gloves are nice to have. But you know, I can't give all the credit to them because then they'd be the football player, not me.
How have you gone about just kind of integrating yourself in the offense since you went to campus, and who has kind of made it the easiest on you? Who's helped you the most?
Really just like finding out my role and understanding my role completely because, you know, we got a really good receiver group. So, like, just finding where I can be the best help in my game. And who's helped me with that is definitely Coach Stingley, Coach Glenn. They definitely, like, kept me focused and understanding on how we got a lot of good receivers in our group. So they just make sure I understand that everybody's going to get a chance to get their opportunity, and when you get that opportunity, you got to make the play.
How difficult is it to learn an offense as a wide receiver, and how much more impressive is kind of Isaiah Johnson getting into his role and making plays when he got here in the spring?
Yeah, it's definitely difficult coming to a whole new game plan and things like that, or like depending on how the coaches like to run their offense, you got to adjust yourself to that. So credit to Isaiah for sure coming in the summertime and just being around the guys a lot, which helped. You know, we was able to help him a lot with things because you know how coaches, they want everything to be player-led. So if we can teach him something to add on what the coaches are already trying to teach us, it just makes it way more seamless to try and adjust to the program and things like that.
You had a really good week at Higher Ground. Was there any time out there that you looked at it and go, you know what? Yeah, it's a good wide receiver room, but I'm gonna be all right. So I'm out here, I'm making plays, I'm having success. Was there a confidence boost at any point out there?
Yeah, definitely was a confidence boost. Not only just seeing myself be able to make plays, but all my brothers around me being able to make plays. Because, like, with me, I get better as I see my peers get better. Because, like, I like to grow as a group. So if I see my teammates getting better and I can see how they can progressively, like be better athletes and be better football players, it just helps me be better and makes it way easier for me to be better too.
Throughout football, teams are discovering players at schools that maybe weren't, you know, the game day schools or whatever you want to call them.
Yeah.
How motivating is that, you know, and Jeff, you know, Jeff London won, you're Charleston Southern, and everybody knows that they play decent football there, but playing at this level and what you're doing, how motivating is that or satisfying?
It's, you know, in the back of my head, it's satisfying, but it's not enough because, like, I kind of always expected myself to be able to play at this level. And, you know, being how I was able to get there and started at Charleston Southern, you know, it was a journey for me. But I kind of always knew in the back of my head that I could play at this level. So it was more like just proving to myself that, like, the level I was at didn't really depict on how I was as a player. And now that I'm here, I can really prove that to myself and to other people.